Minneapolis City.
Post goals! What about that? What
The
about
People's Pitch Podcast, brought to you by Summit Brewing Company.
Domo Origato, and welcome to the People's Pitch, my friends. This is the one and only official podcast of your Minneapolis City SC. I am your host, Nate, and joining me, as always, is the Gomez Adams to my Uncle Fester, John Bisworm. John, we are only days away from kicking off at the Nelly. Can you even contain yourself, man?
I mean, it's year 2, Nate. I'm gonna act like I've been there before. So I'm chill, man. I'm ready to go though. We were just talking off air here. This can't start soon enough.
That's absolutely right. As a fan, I'm so excited, and appropriately, tonight's show is all about going to the max, and I'm not talking about the burger joint on Saved by the Bell. We are giving it 100% to the fans. We have a great lineup tonight for everyone. First of all, I'm gonna do a little NPSL North Football Manager. We're gonna figure out. I'm gonna do some lineup speculation, and John is gonna shoot me down. And then in the house tonight, on the internet line, we have City New Boy defender Max Kent here for a chat. And then of course, you and I, John, are gonna discuss the upcoming U of M friendly that will be taking place this Friday at Edor Nelson Field. Are you ready for this, John?
I am ready. Are you ready, Max?
Yeah, for sure.
Nice.
All right, let's do it.
John, the season is so close that I can smell it. All of the speculation is about to come to an end, and I cannot wait for all the suckers to be silenced. But that doesn't mean that we can't speculate a little tonight. I want to talk to you some about lineups, and I know you can't give away any trade secrets or any locker room mischief, but based on what I've seen from the team, what I've heard from you in the interviews and such, and learned from playing FIFA, I've got some scenarios for you. Do you want to go through them?
Yeah, before we start, what part can you smell so closely about the season?
It's like a mixture of like
dirty laundry.
No, it's so fresh. It's clean laundry. It's unused jerseys and backpacks and mowed grass and beer. A lot of beer.
Yeah. So you're smelling all the good parts. Okay, I just wanted to make sure. All right, throw your scenarios at me so I can just completely just operate in the gray area for this part of the show.
Yeah, that's fair. So I think where this comes from, of course, is there's so much talent. Everyone, we've been told over and over again that there's so much talent on this team. When we take a look at the roster, when we take a look at what some of these returning guys did either last season or in the U.S. Open Cup, it's like we've got an overwhelming amount of depth, and there's so much speculation out there as far as like how are pieces going to plug in and that sort of thing. So the first thing I want to do is start with maybe Friday's lineup against Minnesota, right? So with Friday's lineup against Minnesota, I know that there are some guys that are not gonna be there. I've taken a look ahead of time at our little agenda that we've got going. So this is gonna be based on guys that I know will be there, and of course, where would we start? We can't start without our captain in goal, Matt Elder. I believe he'll probably start the game, and I think you're gonna swap out the new guy Peter maybe at the half just to get him some looks and to get him feeling good about being part of the team. The back line, of course, is gonna provide us with probably our biggest advantage, something to lock us down. Knowing that there's a lot of guys that are still in school, and there's some guys that maybe won't be showing based on jobs and things. I'm gonna say the back line is gonna be anchored by AJ and Joey. I think they'd make a couple good center backs. I'm going to say AO is going to be out on the right, and you'll probably need Charlie on the left because I don't know if Abdallah will be back yet. Am I right?
He will not be back. Let me know when you want me to kind of chime in to provide you some dynamite here.
Yeah, give me 1 sec, because then I think Max, being on the phone with us, Max is going to be the number one sub He's going to slot in as soon as AJ and Joey need a breather, as soon as we want to take a look at what Max can do. How far off am I?
I would say you're not too far off, to be honest with you. I don't know what Adam's going to do, and I don't want to pretend to know what Adam's going to do. I trust him fully. I think that, the guy on the other line here will probably agree with me that he'd like to maybe be in the center pairing in the back line. But I don't think you can go wrong with whether you have Max back there, you have AJ, you have Joey, you have anyone back in the center piece. Adam may go with two players that he's had before, and that's not slighting you at all, Max, so no worries there. But he might go with people that he's used to. So I think that you're pretty spot on, if I had to predict.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is a reflection of what we saw in the U.S. Open Cup. Not a bad way to start the friendly out, and then of course mixing Max in would be great. I've got the team as a kind of a 4-1 maybe. I don't know how I want to explain this, but I'm gonna say that Miles is because I know that Dan and Coleman probably will not be here on Friday, so I'm gonna say Miles is gonna hold it down on a defensive mid role. I think he's going to play a little bit advanced for defensive mid, but that's my prediction there. I think Martin is going to play right in the middle of the field and just control the pace of play just like he did with the U.S. Open. He's going to be all over the place, and I'm excited to see him in action once again. And then, of course, we're going to need a link to the forwards and to the wings. So I've got Wex coming in at his where he's comfortable at that attacking midfielder role. And I really can't see him any other place, at least for this Friday. I think there's a couple weird scenarios where we might throw him wide, but those are my midfielders. And then I've got on the right wing, I've got Will Kidd, who I think has earned a starting spot this season, but we'll get into that based on his goal scoring ability. And then on the left, we're gonna get a look at Javi Alcantara, because I think Whitney is not 100% for this game. Am I correct?
You are correct in that Whitney's still fighting the ankle injury that he picked up against Shattuck early on in the Shattuck game. So I know he's trying real hard to get back on the field. He's going to start he's going to come to training on Wednesday and see how it is. But we're obviously not going to rush him back to play in a friendly. He'll be all good once season starts. But as far as the rest of the lineup you have, I actually am not going to comment on it because I think you're going to be surprised at the differences that you're going to see in the midfield based off of what you had.
Really? All right. That's exciting to hear. I just know from what you've talked about in other games that, especially against the Shattuck game, that Miles is a threat that can come from deep, and I just know that's his. That's kind of his good position. And then, of course, we got Timmy up top. I think maybe he might be able to come off for Javi. And I know there's a couple of the trial guys, and we've got our development players that are going to be in the mix. So they'll be plugged in as needed. But that is my prediction is a 4-1-4-1 for this Friday. Sounds like I'm going to be made to look a fool, but that's okay. I'm going to keep with that formation for my season prediction. I think my optimal lineup for this season is going to be the same. It's going to be 4 in the back. We're going to have one holding midfielder. We're going to have 2 midfielders. One will be advanced a little bit more, and then we're going to have 2 guys on the wing and 1 target man. At least that's kind of based on our depth. That's where I see us being a little successful. I do have a crazy lineup that I want to get into, John. But
go ahead.
But let's go with the standard 4-1-4-1 that I had, and that's of course starting lineup being Ba, Coleman, Trey, and AO across the back. I know we'd like to mix Joey and Engel in, and of course Max as well. We've just got so much depth at defense that even on the wings you've got AO, Charlie, and Nick Hines. You've got Ba, Kevin Hoof. There's just so much talent in our defense that it's hard to be able to predict who's going to plug in when and how throughout the season. I like Dan O'Brien starting off as our as our holding defensive mid. I think if he can't start the season based on schedule or if he picks up a knock, then of course Steve is great to plug in there. AJ is great to plug in there. But I think I want to see what the old pro can do. And of course Martin in that same role, Wex in that same role. Martin and Miles would be able to swap out nicely. Wex and Samo would be able to swap out nicely. And in the wings, like I said, I think Will Kidd has earned a starting spot based on his goal scoring ability. He was awfully prolific last year. Goose could always be a nice sub, one way or the other, for some speed, for some added speed when we really have to press and pressure that defense. Whitney, of course, on the left. Javi mixing it in on the wings. Javi mixing it in on attack with Timmy and Connor being the guys that are up top. Again, who knows? These guys are so flexible as far as where they can play, but that
They can all touch their toes.
Yeah, on paper, this just seems like the easy roster to kind of plug and play. How far off am I?
I think there's quite a few spots where you're off. So I'm trying to be very judicious here and not go
Not
too deep.
not trying to give up any secrets.
I think the main thing that I think you'll be surprised in is a lot of people that we've kind of had, talking about how we're going to set up and who's going to be where. I think the one person that you're going to be surprised with is a more advanced role for Javi. Getting him linked closer into the attack than having him being pinned back more defensively on a wing. I think that his strengths are best suited for going forward with the ball and looking to go forward than having to put in half of his shift on the defensive end. I also think that you'll be surprised, and although he played in the back line for 150 plus pro games, I don't think you're going to see Coleman putting in too much of a shift in the defensive end. I would suggest if I had anything to say about it, that he'd be in a little bit more of an advanced role, connecting the back line and the front line, really with just his experience and how he reads the game. But then again, I'm not Coach Adam, so
right.
What do I know?
Well,
I only know what to do when it comes to Open Cup time. So
that leads into my kind of like third and crazy, so crazy it might be true lineup. And this one I'm putting forward as a 3-4-3. I'm going with a 3-man backline, with in the backline being Max, Trey, and AJ. I think with Trey as the sweeper and kind of Max and AJ as the guys that are going to be on the left and the right of them, that's pretty solid defensively, especially when you add in who I have in the middle of the field. So we've got, of course, holding it down as center mids, O'Brien or Steve, and then Samo or Martin there. I think those two guys, Samo especially for his ability to be able to lace a pretty accurate pass and be able to be kind of a link wide or forward from the back, because the two guys on the left and the right that I have of that middle four are Brian Coleman, and Will Kidd. I know in the past you've talked that you've wanted to see Will Kidd take on more of a fullback role, that he has the ability as he grows to be able to be just as successful on offense as on defense. So this kind of position gives him the ability to be able to use his speed to come back and defend when he has to, but add to the attack when he can. And I think that is that could be pretty cool. I've got Charlie spelling Will, and I've got Abdallah spelling Coleman if he needs to, with Wex swapping out with Samo or Martin. And then I've got the three up top. So right in the middle, of course, would be Connor. To the top right, I've got Goose in like a more forward attacking role, where he'd be able to kind of make those dangerous runs into the box that he was known for last year. And on the left, I've got Whitney and or Javi coming in, making those runs on that side. I think if we could get that many guys forward on attack, knowing the quality of our defense and knowing the quality of our goalkeeping, that could be kind of a nuts formation that might work.
Yes, it could work, Nate. I can tell you've been playing a lot of FIFA lately because the 3-4-3 is it's definitely a video game type formation. I would not prefer it if I were in charge. So I'm not really going to get into where you kind of have guys situated. But if we were to play a 3-4-3, you are correct. Having that many players pressing and attacking, and with the ability of all of our defenders and our goalkeeping, you are right that's going to be tough for anyone to stop. Do you start out a season in that formation? Probably not. But the ability to play multiple formations, I think, is something that we have over other teams in the North Conference.
Yeah, I mean, I think what attracted me to this is that we've got
FIFA.
Coleman. You'd be able to get Coleman and Will Coleman, of course, in his traditional fullback role that he kind of came up in. He's going to be able to move forward into that attack the way that you're looking for him to be able to do. Will being able to develop into that kind of a role that you've talked about in the past, which is obviously kind of a stretch but kind of nuts. And then we've got you've got guys like you said, Javi moving into the attack, being able to roam a little bit and play a little behind Connor if he needs to be in more of an adjusted 10. Anyway, could be crazy, but those are kind of my insane predictions for this season. Obviously, I've been thinking about this a lot, and I'm super excited about it. But that is, like I said, so crazy it just might work.
Nate, that's why I like you, man. You're crazy. I like your moves. I like your style. We'll have to see how accurate you are.
It's one of those things where we've got so many players that are so good that it's hard to choose who to play where, and it's hard to envision how this is going to come to life.
Well, I think I'll kind of end it on it's real easy to decide where they're going to play. It's going to be at Augsburg College this year.
Oh, that's...
See what I did there?
Dad jokes.
Total dad jokes. Anyways, all right, enough about lineups. So, to the meat of our show today, most of the players we've kind of had on the show this preseason have been names that you've heard of from the past year or so, or at least in the Open Cup run. But today, we bring you a new boy to the city roster, one that comes to us via St. Louis Park by the way of McAllister College, where he's just concluded his freshman season. You heard him before, defender Max Kent. Max, welcome to the show, man. How are you doing?
I'm doing awesome. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem, man. Welcome.
So great to have you, man.
Yeah, for sure.
So, since your emergence onto the scene, you've become kind of a mysterious cult figure to City fans on the internet, and this is, probably a new pair of shoes for you to be in. How has it been so far since you signed for City?
I was actually just talking to a couple buddies here at MAC about the underground soccer scene that I just really didn't know about, prior to like 2 months ago when I first kind of ran into like the citizen or the supporter group pages on Twitter and Facebook, and I was like, dang, there's a lot. There's a untapped support group for soccer here in the Twin Cities that I just really didn't ever know about. So yeah, it's been surreal, kind of getting to know the people and how much people really are jacked up about this season. So I mean, as you can imagine, as a player, it's the dream, to have all that anticipation.
Yeah, I think you're 100% correct, Max, in that until you really dive into this, you don't know kind of what's lurking in the shadows as far as soccer is concerned. You'll see what you read about what these people have to say about yourself and other members of the team or the organization, but until you actually physically see some of these people, it really doesn't make any sense. And it might not even make sense after you see them. But the cool thing is that we started this thing, and then now they're all in on it, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah, for sure. Look, it's remarkable. It's remarkable, everything from social media to pictures of people online that when you Google Minneapolis City, it's incredible. absolutely incredible.
That's the true test of a player is when you're like, yeah, I can play for a team that's got a guy that paints himself pink as a supporter.
All right, so Max, as far as you as a player, as we have guys on here, we talk a little bit about kind of your background. So you were a 4-year starter at St. Louis Park High School. You were a 2-time captain. I presume your junior and senior year.
Yeah.
You were 2-time All-Conference, and then you were first-team All-State your senior year. You were also the valedictorian of your senior class. So
Whoa.
also putting in the work on
In the books.
And then moving into college in your freshman season, you were voted all MIAC Conference honorable mention. And one stat that I noticed today when I was kind of doing a little more digging was you played all but 2 minutes last year, which is very impressive in your season. So I think that is something that I would hang my hat on. Is there anything in that list that kind of stands out to you as maybe being 1A?
I mean, I always kind of pride myself on the academic portion of it. As much as I like to, it's fun to win accolades for soccer. It's a team sport, so as long as we're doing well, that's when you get acknowledged. And if you're not doing well, you can't really get acknowledged. You can't. I can really only appreciate the guys that surrounded me for the last 12 years of my life playing competitive soccer, but that's why that stuff comes. So no, I mean, yeah, it was this season was remarkable in the fact that I got to play so much. It was a blessing, and I didn't go into it thinking it would be that way, but it was so fun, and I'm just jacked to have 3 more years under my, right left, I guess, to continue getting better and continue pushing towards, a national title.
Yeah, you got quite a bit of soccer left in those legs. But before we move on, a lot of people that we've talked to, that are on the roster this year, there's a heavy kind of Division III kind of spice sprinkled in and out of our recipe here. Were there any offers for you to play at a higher level than Division III, and if so, what were they, and if not, what was the decision making process that made you select McAllister?
Yeah, I mean there were a few Division I programs, a little bit, some in Michigan, some in on the West Coast, very dispersed. The biggest thing for me was the academics. As much as I wanted to play soccer at a high level, I also know that following my 4 years at playing collegiate soccer, I don't want to. Soccer's not going to be my lifestyle, my life. I want to go into law, go to law school, and do work with immigration law and stuff like that. So I knew going into it that I wasn't trying to be a professional soccer player. I didn't want to sign my, be completely invested in soccer 24/7, 365. And that's what really caught my attention from the D3 standpoint was the Division III soccer has progressed so much since the NCAA made it a sport, and it's so competitive as people are realizing more and more, and you only have to look at the MIAC to realize how, and really the amount of guys on this team who are from Division III schools to realize that it's a high level of soccer. So it wasn't like a penalty for me to go to a Division III school over a Division I school.
Yeah,
I was fully aware of the level. I was fully aware of what I was getting myself into, and I don't regret it one bit.
Nice.
That's cool. I mean, that's good to have. I mean, there's not a lot of kids straight out of high school have that kind of vision or that kind of commitment to say, you know what, I'm really focusing on me, and I know exactly what I want to do with my life, or at least in the direction I want to go. And soccer could be part of it, but that's admirable that you've put it second and still been so successful in this first year. After high school last summer, did you hear rumblings of what was going on over here with Minneapolis City?
Yeah, a little bit. I actually was Goose's teammate a number of years ago, and Ian, Steve's teammate a long time ago at Minneapolis United. And so when Goose came to play with us last year before college, he had mentioned he was playing for this team as well. And we actually scrimmaged you guys like very early on in the season, so I think it was like a 3-1 win for you guys. But nonetheless, I was hearing what was happening, and it was I didn't really think about it too much, just because I had Minneapolis United, I had other summer trainings, and I was like, I know of you guys. I just never like thought, I could play with them. So that was the extent of it.
So you played your club ball with Minneapolis United for most of your
since like U13, so 5-6 years.
Okay.
So people across the internet look at semi-pro or amateur teams like us and perceive that making a player pay for a tryout is kind of just a cash grab. But in this case, for City, as you were the lone player that we actually signed to a full roster spot after an open tryout. Can you tell us, how things unfolded for you and kind of how you got into the mix once you just kind of mentioned you had heard of us, but you hadn't really thought about it yet. Kind of, how did it become to a thing where you really wanted to make a run at it?
Yeah, well, I mean, after the season ended for college ball, I was thinking more and more about like what I wanted to do to get better over the summer, and obviously I could have gone back and played with the guys who I played with last summer, but a lot of them aren't playing this year or aren't playing in school, so I wasn't like entirely trying to play with them, even though they're a great group of guys. But it was also just the idea of like how can I get better? What's a good outlet for me to be pushed to a new level with the guys who know the game really well? And I had thought of Goose a little bit just because I was like, what are the D1 guys? What are the better players doing in the off season? And realized that he's probably playing. Those guys, him and Steve, are probably playing here. So I was like, why not take a shot? And consulted with my my coach, Greg Olson, about it a little bit, and he was told me just try it out, give it a shot, and now here I am. So
all right,
a
lot of little factors. Yeah.
Have you always known him as Goose or Steve, or because you slipped and said
so
Ian? So those are two new nicknames, right?
Yeah. Well, no. I've known Goose as Goose since like I first saw his like brother put up a video about him as like the next Wayne Rooney. So so I know Goose as Goose for a while. And it still is kind of ridiculous whenever I describe him to somebody, because Isaac never really rolls out the tongue. But Steve's a different nickname I've never heard. But obviously he's a very good resemblance of Stevie G. So I can see that he warrants that name quite remarkably. So
I wish there was a cool reason. Why we call him Steve, that it's connected to Steven Gerrard, but it's not. It's totally random.
It's not. Okay, well, I thought it was, but
name.
Whatever. It's chill.
Might as well be Todd.
It's interesting. Whatever.
So growing up out in St. Louis Park, obviously, as we've been talking about this, you've been in that same soccer solar system as a lot of these guys like Steve, Goose. You're only a year or two removed from guys like Connor, Samo, and Will, who are coming from a little farther out east. And I'm sure there's some more guys that I'm missing. Obviously, Goose was a huge influence on you getting involved with City. Is that something that you looked at otherwise, that other young metro area talent coming to City did that factor into your decision to play here?
I mean, maybe a little bit. I was obviously intrigued by how well you guys had done in the past, but really, I mean, it was more just the guys who were on the team before. You know, I've always kind of played at, like you said, at my age, and until college, it was the first time since my freshman year of high school that I've been pushed by upperclassmen guys. So I was like, what men's teams are there available? And then I was like, well, I think I can do better than men's league. So, what kind of like, not professional, but what kind of middle point is there between men's league and like the highest level possible? And, City is determined, like, has definitely shown itself with its roster that it's that perfect spot for me to develop as a player. So that's for sure. I mean, Goose is an incredible guy, incredible player. Same with Ian. Same with all those guys who are a couple years older than me that you mentioned. So it was definitely those kind of guys that I was like, they're going to make me better players. They're training with them is a blessing and a half for sure.
So this has been a year or two, I guess, when you consider the last couple of years of firsts for you, right? First year playing college soccer, and now you're moving into playing at a pretty high level in the NPSL pretty quickly. What has initially been the differences for you and the types of adjustments you've had to make to your game?
Well, they're both very different. I mean, college is you spend 2 weeks basically eat, sleep, and training, and so for those 2 weeks of preseason, you basically just get entrenched in this system. So it's almost like a homogenous brain cell. Everybody's brain is clicked onto the same channel, and everybody does. There's no confusion of what's happening, and everybody has just kind of a fixed mindset of how to play. So it differs from NPSL because everybody comes from a distinct background, a distinct team, and a distinct playing style that, it's fun in the fact that you get to like try to figure out these problems on the field. Sometimes in a nice way, sometimes in a little bit of a frustrating tone. But, nonetheless, they both warrant some issues. They both warrant some benefits. And they both offer a lot of learning opportunities. So, like I said, I wanted to find a new atmosphere to grow as a player, so I could come back next year to MAC and be a different guy, but still be a player who you could can be relied on. So, yeah, long explanation, but that's how I feel about that question.
No, that's cool. So it's a situation of like, look, you've got your system at McAllister that you've learned and that you adhered to. However, playing outside of that system at a high level for the summer might give you some tools to succeed in ways that you might not have known about if you hadn't done
for sure.
it.
No, yeah, it's like spot on, and obviously, like you said, coupled with playing with guys who have like Coleman, who have played at remarkable levels, and all the guys who are playing at Division I programs, it just offers you a whole new perspective on what you have to improve on as a player when you play with those guys. So, I'm beyond happy, beyond excited to get this, continue playing with them because, I want to get better as a player, and I think they can do a lot with improving my game and pushing me in off and on the field. So.
Awesome.
So speaking of on the field stuff with the team, what has your impression been so far with the staff and the teammates that you've come across? Because you still haven't played with a third of the roster so far. But what are you thinking so far when you come off the training pitch?
It's incredible. Obviously this podcast celebrates how dedicated the staff is and how dedicated all the guys who play kind of a supporting role off the field, like you, John, and all the supporters and the other team managers. But like you said, there's little. I've only scratched the surface of how great this team can be, because like there's so many guys yet to be at training and I've yet to play with.
So who
you know,
have you been impressed with so far that you've played with?
I mean, the back line is for sure something. First thing I noticed, I love playing next to Charlie. I love playing next to Ao. Having those guys with pace is something always a center back always likes to have. Guys who are willing to get crunch into tackles. Joey was a great guy to play with alongside at Shattuck. But somebody who's always stood out in my eyes, I mean, I always thought that Ben Wexler's an incredible player, so he stands out quite a bit. Same with Coleman being, I think he just turned 33.
Yeah, just turned 33.
Yeah, just turned 33. I mean, the fact that he can turn it on like that in training is, to me, the most impressive damn thing I've seen in a while. So, there's a reason they call him the Hulk at one point. So, yeah, I mean, those guys are just a different level, and it's fun as hell to play with them. And, I'm just, like I said, it's going to be fun to play with guys like Goose and Ian and, Sam, who are all coming back, and I know who can play at a high level and continue that trend.
So, who's provided you with the best advice so far?
Yeah, is that something you're seeking out? Like, are you always going to guys and saying, "What can I do?" or "What what did you see?"
Yeah, I mean, I think it'd probably be Coleman would probably be one of them. He played at being kind of the de facto leader on the field. Having all that experience playing the back line, he's provided me a ton of information, a ton of advice about what to do in certain situations, how to approach a situation that I never really thought of in a certain way. Elder is also giving me a lot of good advice about the way he likes to play and how much what I should be doing to best suit the team's playing style. So I mean, yeah, it's the guys you'd expect. Obviously guys like Miles has given me a lot of good feedback about how to defend for doing better job tracking forwards, and I've taken that seriously and tried to get better in all those areas that he and those two other guys have been telling me about. So yeah, I mean, I can't explain every single guy, but
there's a lot of learning out there, is what you're saying.
Oh yeah, it's exponential. It's exponential.
That's awesome.
So
Awesome.
So a lot of us, of course, are meeting you and hearing about you for the first time. What can you tell them are your strengths, and what kind of stuff can we expect from you in your first year of what we hope is going to be a good career with City?
Yeah. I mean, I think the first thing that most people notice is, because my size, I can usually get a lot of stuff off my head. Whether it's clearing it or just playing off my head. It's one of my stronger suits. I like to play a long ball, so trying to hit that ball across the field. To Will Kidd or Goose will definitely be something in the back of my mind. And as a defender, there's nothing much more I like to do than get into a crunching tackle or lock down a guy when he has his back turned to me, or stuff like that. So can't think right off the top of my head, but those are a couple of things that come to mind.
That's cool. That sounds like a compatible playing style, my man. So 2 or 3 years down the road, as we're talking about like what we hope, is the first of many with City. 2 or 3 years down the road, what are your hopes for this club, and of course for your own soccer development here?
Yeah.
Because you've already been clear that like soccer isn't really a career for you. It's not something you're looking forward to. You're looking to do for the rest of your life. What's that going to look like as you start to almost, to move into graduation and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is that, not wanting to play, have soccer be my life does not mean I don't want to continue getting better. Just because I don't want to play, strive to play in the MLS or strive to play USL soccer doesn't mean I'm not going to, fight every day to be a better player. It just means that, at some point I'm gonna have to face a choice of, the opportunity cost of continuing to put all that effort into soccer. But it's definitely not gonna stop until, I get to an age where it's detrimental to my career, and obviously that's 4 or 5 years from now. So, as I look forward, it's not. I'm not gonna stop improving my game every single day. Try to get as good as I can be every single day. It just means that I'm also going to be dedicating a lot of time towards how I want to, where I want to see myself in, 10, 15 years, rather than just the 4 or 5 years I have that I'm looking at right now. So
it's very wise.
Yeah,
it's very wise of you, Max.
Yeah,
I think
oh, go ahead.
I think the nice part about what you're seeing with the organization is with the guys that are in town now that aren't in school, they have found a way through our club to continue to have soccer as a thing while their day interests are still important,
Mm-hmm.
And I think that I think you kind of hit it on the head where in 10 years from now you're not going to be the guy who's trying to fight for a tryout at a higher level, but maybe this level is where you can continue to play, to fulfill that itch that you have from a soccer perspective.
Yeah, for sure. And obviously, I wanna get this club as far as it possibly can. I've been doing a lot of research after doing being involved with you guys, and looking at how the MPSL is stacked up nationally. I think it's so suitable that we have a shot at that national title, despite the great powers in the Southwest region and across the Northeast. But like you said, it's just because I don't want to play MLS soccer doesn't mean I'm not going to try to be the best player on the field every single day at training. So, even though I'm going to be grinding in the classroom I'm going to be grinding in the weight room just as much. So, yeah, I mean, that's what you can expect from me, I guess.
All right. I think a lot of folks will be pretty excited to see you put the money where the mouth is on that one. All right. Well, at this point in the show, it's time for the Lupient Automotive Speed Round. Are you familiar with the Speed Round?
I'm not.
Okay. What? Well, a little plug first here. The People's Pitch Speed Round is brought to you by the wonderful people in the Valley of Gold at Lupient Automotive. Summer is here, and it's time to upgrade that winter car with something flashy. Don't miss out on turning heads of all those hotties. Head down to Lupient today. Visit Lupient Automotive. Visit Lupient.com for more information. Okay, Max, here's how the speed round goes. There are 10 questions. I must have an answer before I go to the next question. I do emphasize the word speed, so you can take time to think, but we have to keep moving because we don't have all night. I ask everyone, do you need to take a little break? Do you need to stretch? Do you need a glass of water or anything, or are you ready to dive in?
I mean, what are these questions consisting of? I mean, I think I'm good. I'm thinking good.
Okay, they consist of a lot of things. All right, okay. So you're all good. All right, number 1. What is the first name of this famous Green Bay Packer wide receiver from 1954 to 1967, who is known for his display of double-digit catches and 2 touchdowns in the first ever Super Bowl?
You are asking the wrong person. Vince Lombardi.
Nobody's a real Packers fan.
That is Max McGee. So
I should have known.
See what we did there? All right, number 2.
Yeah.
Dartford FC competes in the 6th tier of English soccer. They hail from what city in England?
I'm gonna say like Kenton or something.
You are close. Yeah, Kent. So, yes. So, number 1 is Max. Number 2 is Kent. Okay. Number 3, who is your favorite defender and why?
I'm gonna say Vincent Company, even though he's retired. I mean, he has a lot of the same attributes as me. Large guy, but can move. Can hit a pretty well placed ball, and has a pretty good head as well. So
He looks like Shrek, if anyone.
yeah, I mean,
knows.
he's not the greatest looking guy, but let's not hold that against him.
No, looks don't win games, right?
Yeah, for sure.
All right, so number 4. What is and can you spell the last name of Coach Adam?
Oh, Pribyl.
You are correct.
Work.
I still have problems with that on a daily basis. All right, so if your game or playing style was a song title, what would it be?
Wow. Dang, speed. Oh my gosh. Carry On My Wayward Son. That's the first song that came. That's the first song that came to my head. So yeah.
That'll do, man. All right, number 6. Everyone gets one of these on the speed round. It's a would you rather question. Would you rather be a dragon or own a dragon?
Own a dragon.
Okay, is there a reason why you would want to own one instead of be one?
As pessimistic as it sounds about society, I'm guessing that not many people look too friendly upon a dragon. So, as if I was a dragon, I probably wouldn't have many friends. But if I owned one, I think it would.
You'd have all the friends.
Yeah, I think it'd increase my friendships ratio pretty exponentially. So.
You know
Yeah,
what
I think that's
also?
my rationale.
You know what also will help you increase friendship? A really cool car from Lupien Automotive.
Oh yeah.
Oh, see.
See, there we go. All right, number 7. What was the first big soccer game you remember watching or going to?
Oh, geez. The biggest soccer game I think I went to, at the youngest age, was when my dad, when my parents were coaching at during their first years at St. Louis Park High School for the varsity girls team. I think I might have been 4 or 5. So yeah, that was pretty spectacular. Even though it was a high school game, that felt like a big time deal to me. So,
Nice.
Yeah.
Number 8. How many donuts are you capable of eating in 1 hour?
So many. It kind of depends on the variety. If there's a good variety, I think I could put down more if it was just a bunch of donut holes. But,
What about a Krispy Kreme type situation?
oof, I don't know. I'm not a big donut fan, but especially just plain donuts. Kind of I need some stuff in there, whatever. But I don't know, probably a box or 2.
So 24?
Probably, yeah. If I was put up to the test and had something on the line for it, yeah, probably something close to
24.
there.
That's a lot of donuts. All right, number 9. Name 3 other NPSL North teams.
Oh, is it Duluth FC?
Okay, that's 1.
Med City and VSLT.
All right.
Nice.
Bonus question. Name a 4th one.
Nah.
Oh, I want to say Sioux City.
Close enough. We'll
Yeah.
give you the first. We'll give you the first 3. All right.
Okay.
Last question. Number 10. What was the first line of your valedictorian speech?
Oh God. First line of the valedictorian speech. I think it was something oh yeah, 4 years ago I said just do it, something like that. But correct me if I'm wrong.
So the thing is that you could have said anything
Yeah,
at this
you
point,
did.
and it would have been.
Yeah,
would have
I guess I did not put that together. That there's no way you would have seen that. So
4 years. Wow.
Unless you really
Who
took time to
thought
like
we
watch
would've
the
made
entire
it?
commencement. So
Yeah, I don't even know where I'd find that, but if I could have found it, maybe I would have at least watched the first 5 minutes of it. All right, Max. Well, thank you so much for being on with us today. We really appreciate it. We look forward to continuing to watch you fight for those valuable minutes, growing as a player and contributing this season, as well as when you leave us at the end of the summer and you go back to school. We'd love to have you on here if you had some time, but we know you're a busy guy and it's getting late and got the books tomorrow. So, but we really appreciate having you on.
yeah, for sure. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem.
It is almost showtime, folks. We're starting off on Friday with a friendly at the Nelly, and we want to cover once again what to expect on Friday night. It's going to be our last tune-up before shit gets real, but our first opportunity to see impressive young gentlemen such as Max hit the field. So what do we want to talk about? Well, first of all, we got to get the deets down. The game is at 7 p.m. at Edor Nelson Field at Augsburg College. Use your Google if you want to find out how to get there. Doors open at 6 p.m., but don't forget to visit the citizens at the Viking Bar ahead of time for a few / many quick barley pops before the game starts. There's going to be a $10 charge at the door. You can go to Minneapolis City, MPLSCitySC.com, and get those pre-sale tickets for $8 if you want to save some bucks. Members, of course, you can always get in free with your membership card, so make sure you got a hold of that. $3 from every one of those ticket sales are going to go towards helping supplement the U of M soccer club budget, because there's some cuts that they're taking, so they're gonna make some money off of this game. So not only are you coming out to support Minneapolis City, but you're supporting university level soccer. And of course, it is BYOB. The rules at Edor Nelson Field are bring your own, but it'll cost you. I think it's only $5 for a small cooler, $20 for a big cooler. Remember that you must pack in and pack out, so you have to drink everything from a plastic cup. If you don't have one, we will sell you one? Okay, well, Sarah is making money where she can make it. John, now that we have the details, what can we expect to see on the field?
All right, so thank you for asking, Nate. From the U of M, by and large, you can expect a young group of guys who will kind of fight for 90 minutes. A lot of guys that are used to playing together. Maybe some of those guys have been playing together for upwards of 3-4 years. The team has concluded their season with a national championship tournament appearance, so they're no slouch. However, they have not been playing regular soccer, so they could be a little bit rusty. So we kind of all know how that goes when you've been away from the ball for a while. That first couple chances where you get a first touch or that pass doesn't have enough weight on it, we might see a little bit of that. But they'll definitely,
there's going to be some jitters to shake out, you're thinking.
Yeah, maybe, and they're playing in our house, and hopefully we pack the stands, and we're real rowdy, and it's an imposing atmosphere that we're getting geared up for when we get to league play. But just because they're a club team does not mean that they won't bring it, like I had mentioned. The U of M has had a long tradition of getting players that have chosen school as their first priority and forgone kind of the big soccer programs in order to get that patent or that sought-after Gopher degree. So you're going to see some guys that have the talent that could, maybe play on our team, as well as, some guys that just chose that school was their thing, kind of like Max did, but wanted to still play at a high level. They typically play with one target striker that I know of, kind of like we do when we have a guy like Timmy in there. But they do a good job of kind of getting the ball off their feet and getting it to the oncoming wingers and the central midfielders that are kind of bombing through. So they like to attack just like anyone does. Their back line's pretty stout, and they play pretty well with the ball at their feet. I think the difference will be when you have guys like Will Kidd and hopefully Whitney running at you. It's a different ball game than it is when you're playing against some of the club teams in the country at the university level. Goalkeeping, their goalkeeper is a decent shot stopper. He'll get his hand on most shots, but potentially will give up some rebound opportunities. Hate when that happens in FIFA, but love it when it happens for us. So that's kind of what to expect from the Gophers. As far as the Crows are concerned.
Yeah, man. I mean, we touched on it earlier. Like, I know we've been training hard. We've been getting in shape. but not every player, of course, on the roster is going to be available because there's going to be kids still at school. A few guys on the team have a bit of a knock. So who can we expect to see take the field?
Well, we'll be, like you said, we'll be without a few players, but still have plenty of power in the house. You know, we built the roster for instances like this and for the longevity of the season. But we'll be missing, as you mentioned, all the college players. Nate Engel, James and Dan O'Brien are recovering from some knee issues. And then Whitney is still TBD because of the ankle injury he picked up against Shattuck. So we're bringing him along slowly so that he's ready for the season to start. And then Coleman, you have to wait one more week for the Incredible Hulk to make his debut. He will be doing his day job or his evening job. He will be coaching his youth team that day, so he will not be able to make it. But I think, you know, some other things to anticipate. The Open Cup kind of continues to spill over. We'll see some of the guys that helped us win that Open Cup game and that are technically new to the team from a summer perspective in Joey, Charlie, Miles, and Martin, and then hopefully Whitney. And then the old boys are back. You get guys like Elder. He's going to be the captain this year. You'll see AO and AJ and Wexler and Will Kidd's back now that he's not at Bradley anymore. He can debut in the first game this year with us from a trial game perspective. And then we have the full debuts of not only the guy you just heard from, Max, but we have Peter Runquist in net was taking over the other spot that we had in our goalkeeping room after Duncan left. And then you'll see Javi Alcantara, who we saw on the other side of the field, but now we'll get to see what he does with players, the pedigree of what City brings in. You'll also get to see a chance to catch some minutes from two of our development players, Abdi Kadi and Jimmy Farah will be on hand and hopefully get some minutes and see how the big show is. And then there's a couple trial guys that are in the mix. There'll be Shea Bottom, who plays with Will Kidd at St. Thomas, and then Jovan, who plays at St. Olaf, are two guys that we maybe haven't seen before if you haven't been around city headquarters, but definitely players of the caliber we'd like to bring in. And then there's word that Coach Pribble might dip down into the Stegman's ranks and bring up some familiar names as well. Possibly seeing a guy like Nick Hutton join the team. So we'll see there. But you also see the new coaching staff and a new plan. So new sheriffs in town, and we'll kind of see what we can expect from the guys in charge of the on-the-field product. Sweet. And then, of course, as always, Nate, the new location. We'll be ready to rock.
Yeah.
It'll be nice and loud. You and I will be in a new booth.
I can't wait to be in an actual booth.
We're moving up in the world when it comes to our announcing. So
literally up.
Yeah.
Above the shed level.
Yeah, we're not at street level in a closet anymore. We are up high in the sky.
I'm not gonna have to tell everyone where the bathroom is.
No, you're not. We're also not gonna have to fight off the weird janitor that had one eye. So yeah, we got new digs too. So
that's gonna be awesome. I'm super pumped. And that is all for tonight's show, guys. Huge shout out to our sponsor, Summit. Bring a massive cooler full of your favorite Summit to the game on Friday and kick the season off right. And if you want to get into Friday's game for free, then a membership might be right for you. It is $60, and it gets you a season pass and a fancy new membership scarf, which is a pretty sweet deal considering there are 8 home games. And of course, you get a member's vote, and of course, the spiritual reward of holding soccer in your heart. If you're not, I mean, what's better than that, right? If you're not quite sure that you want to commit to a full season, or maybe you got some busy stuff going on, you're going on vacations, or you're just interested in maybe checking us out for 1 or 2 games, single game tickets are on sale now. $8 will get you in if you buy ahead of time. $10 at the door. Head over to mplscitysc.com and get whichever entry method you want today. Minneapolis City is out on the town. We're helping kids connect to this fine sport. We got our players all over town running workshops, playing with kids, getting them excited about soccer. And if you're looking to align yourself with a fine group that loves to give back, you are in luck, because Minneapolis City is a 501c3 that does good on and off the pitch by providing those less fortunate with a safe, reliable place to play this beautiful game. And of course, every donation is fully tax deductible. Consider giving to the club that gives back. Hey, if you want to get a hold of us, we've made it super easy. You can just kick us a note on Twitter. We talk to people every day on Twitter at The People's Pitch, or through email, mcscpodcast@gmail.com. We do that less frequently because nobody talks to us on email. All questions, comments, and concerns are welcome. And finally, as always, hit the club up at MPLS City SC. And that is all for this week. We will see you Friday night at the Nelly. By the time this airs, it will be only 3 sleeps until the Friday night friendly. We are going to talk to you next week as we prepare to officially kick off the 2017 season. I cannot wait. We're going to leave you with some brand new hotness from that house band, Go Get 'Em Tiger. This is Highway 9. I am Nate. Thank you so much to Max. Super impressive. Great to have you on the show, Max. And that, of course, is John, and you are the fans. Enjoy your week, because Friday is going to feel like it is going to come in forever. Peace out.
Gather my scattered things. You come to me to put my mind at ease. Such a silent drive.